We're here today on Country Pocket with Ross Thorn. The new album is Fitting In. Um, Ross, you are a musician, a traveling performer. I imagine that as someone standing in front of the room playing to everyone, you have to win the crowd over more quickly and completely than most people do in their ordinary lives.
Yeah, definitely. And it's I find that I also don't do it easily through my musical prowess. It's usually more through hopefully like my storytelling and talking. I think that I kind of lean into it with that way too to help win folks over.
Well, I would argue that your musical prowess and your storytelling are a little more linked than you're giving credit.
Well,
Uh,
thank you.
how does it feel trying to fit in? You are much like me, a mountain of a man. Um, you disarm with humor, and the music sounds good, but it's probably not always easy just getting in there and being like, part of the crowd.
Yeah, yeah, like you said, I'm a very large person. I'm 6'8", and so
Oh, you
physically
put me
fitting
to
in.
shame.
Yeah, so I mean, like it's kind of funny because people think that that's a great thing, and it kind of is sometimes. Like in sports, when I played basketball, it's awesome. It's a great asset. But fitting into like literal spaces in society, like on airport, airplanes or in cars or anything like that is difficult. And it's also, when you just mentioned, getting in front of people, like I'm an introverted person, and so and I can be outgoing, but like I get drained quickly if I'm trying, if I'm like expending social energy. Um, so yeah, fitting in and appearing to fit in are difficult for me.
You say on another song on the album, we're all the same, but we all have different needs. I believe that is in some reference to fitting in. Explain that one for me.
Yeah, it is, and it's I I I really liked that line, and I like songs, that sort of kind of reiterate that, especially like there's a lot of children's songs or something that will, like we'll say like we just have different faces, we have different names. But then a lot of times, what people fail to recognize is that like, you know, we have different needs and we have different graces. There are people with privileges and there are people without privileges in this life. And so, yeah, it's definitely there's other folks in lots of other backgrounds um, of people who fit in, have an even harder time fitting in than me. I'm thinking of like folks in the queer and trans community, those especially, um, have a hard time, and society doesn't make it easy.
Yeah. So you profess love quite a bit at the end of that first track we just heard, the title track of the album. How does that connect to the rest of it?
Yeah. I think it's all hopefully rooted in love. That's where at least I'm coming from with it, and particularly on fitting in of like repeating the I love you so. I think that's really important for me, and it's like a newer thing for me to say to myself. And it feels really good when you do say that, and to get to a place where you are saying that to yourself, or you can say that. And it's not every day that I say that to myself, but um, yeah. And so, if I can say it to myself, and if I can say it to somebody else who is not like me, who disagrees with me, who maybe like is quite rude to me, that's sort of where it's rooted.
So I love that this album is rooted in so many influences that maybe don't go together. You have some brutally difficult content. You have some children's album purity and humor that ranges from pure to dark. A lot of stuff going on. I just want to briefly touch on Midwestern Goodbye.
Yeah.
Are goodbyes hard for you? Or is that just a song that was meant to close concerts?
Uh, that's funny. I wrote that song on the day David Lynch died. And I in the Midwest, we have a practice of goodbyes take forever. And I'm sure this probably exists elsewhere too, but part of the joke is that we're all aware of, an aunt or an uncle or a cousin or somebody, and sometimes it's ourselves who takes like 45 minutes and we're standing in the doorway, or even an hour, hour and a half, and we just keep going on about these things. And so I love it. I think it's a beautiful cultural phenomenon. And I think there's something divine in it. I think there's this longing for connection that um in areas with like the Midwest that has hard and long winters, um we we're clinging to any connection that we get. And so when we have to let go of that connection and we have to say goodbye, we tend to linger. So
I think what's particularly beautiful about that song is that instead of talking about the practice, you just go ahead and do it. You
yeah.
musically take forever to say goodbye. You basically stop the song and start it back up again. This is full on. It's a strange way of explaining a culture, but I got it. Like,
Yeah.
I got it pretty much better than I ever could have if you just told me Midwestern goodbyes take forever.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. Yeah. And it's funny that I'm glad you picked up on, especially like musically, like from the very start, like it starts with the ending cadence of like the going from the F to the G, like, and it sounds like it's going to, come to a head and come back and sit on that one chord. So yeah, I think the feel of it's really important.
Um, so I'm gonna move on to the next song we're gonna play on the show called Far Away. It is heartbreaking, it is beautiful, and it's probably the most sweeping, powerful song you have on the album. And um, you let someone else step up to the microphone and deliver it. And um, I'm well aware that there are guest singers on albums all the time, but it's not all that typical to just completely hand a song to someone else. Explain that decision.
Yeah, I wrote that song um with my friends the Spine Stealers, who are Emma O'Shea and Kate Ruland. I wrote it with them in mind, to sing it. I had asked them before if they'd want to uh do this song with me, and I kind of took some notes out of, like John Prine's book of Angel from Montgomery, where it's like the opening line is "I am an old woman," and we know that John Prine is not an old woman, especially when he wrote that song. He was, a younger man, and to put myself in another person's shoes that's completely different from me in like this role playing exercise almost, um, and really an exercise in empathy, and then to give it up to in Emma's voice, who sings lead on that. Her voice is absolutely gorgeous. So I'm really, she brought a lot, and I think she did it really well. So it wasn't too hard to hand it off to such a amazing singer and amazing friends and musicians, the Spine Stealers.
Yeah, I definitely think she pulls it off. There's a concept in that though, the notion that it's hard to outrun your problems. Um, as someone who's traveled all over, how does that hold up?
Yeah, I mean, it really does. I think we often will make plans for ourselves and try to escape something. And I think we have a big fear of sitting in uncomfortable things and addressing uncomfortable things. And I think, yeah, beyond the story and the characters in that story, my friend Claire Doyle also has a song called Another Place to Cry, which is like this perfect, like, country song that's like listing places, and everywhere you go, like, you think it's going to be, you think the grass is going to be greener. You think, in her song, the blue is going to be, like another shade of blue, but it's the same stuff because everything that you carry with you, is there until you address it, until you face it. So I go to therapy, and that was probably one of my biggest breakthroughs in therapy in recent years is sitting in uncomfort and giving it the space and then acting, with a clear head, knowing that you're going to do uncomfortable things and have to face uncomfortable things.
Yeah. Do you think it's possible to get away, to escape? Maybe not through the process described in the song, but I'd like to think that we're not all doomed to continue on in whatever sadness we're brought up in.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's less, it's less escaping and it's more confronting, which then leads to peace on the other side. I don't think it's possible to just run away. I think you have to go through it to you know, get to the other side.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it. I I went through a lot and it took a very long time for me to heal and change. And when I healed, one of the first things that popped into my head is, you're okay now. Now it's time to run away.
Right. Yeah. Once you've gotten through it,
And I
then you
did.
have the space. Yeah.
And my goodness, what a decision.
Yeah.
I'm
It
not
feels
sure
like
it
you
would
can
have
take it.
worked too well if I just ran away
Right.
unhealed, but I think perhaps if you do them in the right order, it's still a good move.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Like you have to get through the wall of it un in order to get to the freedom, and the peace that's on the other side of the wall. Because otherwise, if you just try to run away, you're going back, and you can't cross the wall.
Well, we're going to listen to Far Away and we'll be right back here on WUSB with Ross Thorn.